Do you ever feel like you're constantly looking for one of your remotes, whether it's one of your TVs, your sound system, some lighting, a projector, or any other gadget you've got lying around the house? Well, what if I told you one remote could rule them all? This is the Sofabaton X1S, a premium all-in-one smart remote designed to pack all of your remotes into one simple, functional device. Now, if you've seen the original X1, you might be wondering what's so special with the X1S. Well, to cut a long story short, there's been a few updates, and we basically get an updated version of the remote control, and the best bit is, it's the same price. We previously had the U2 Universal Remote and the X1 on the channel. If you want to see our thoughts on those, I'll leave cards in the top right corner now. A quick disclaimer here, Sofabaton did send these out for review, but this does not affect our thoughts or opinions, and we're not linked to or sponsored by Sofabaton in any way. We do, however, have Amazon affiliate links, and I'll leave those down in the description for your convenience. So let's get straight into the video. Okay then. Included in the box is the hub, the power adapter, 2 USB leads, 2 infrared sensors, the remote control, and instructions. We'll start with the hub. This is a nice, sleek and stylish design with a 360-degree infrared sensor. On the rear, we've got a power button, which also doubles up as the reset button if you need to reset for any reason. And we have the USB-C port. This is so we can power the hub. This needs to be plugged in at all times. And then we have 2 auxiliary inputs. These are 3.5mm inputs for the infrared sensors. On the bottom, we've got 2 mounting holes. This is so you can mount this on the wall, but no hardware is included. Then we've got the 4 rubber feet, which makes it anti-slip. On the front of the hub, we've got a LED display which will be green or blue depending on status. We'll take a look at this shortly. As for the remote, it's a premium design. There's a few updates to this one. One of the updates is the lift to wake feature, so when you pick the remote up, it no longer needs an input before it's responsive. It's made from a nice rigid black plastic with a matte black finish, and it looks really nice and high-end. It also has the 1050 mAh battery, so you can charge this via USB-C just like the X1. It's all very good and premium. The charge time is around 3 hours and it lasts for around 8 to 12 weeks depending on usage. And there's also been a few updates for the connectivity and the fonts for English and multiple languages in the settings. We also get 2 USB-C cables included. One is for the hub. This needs to be plugged in at all times. You can use the power brick that's provided, or you could just use a USB-C output if you have one nearby on your TV. You could always power from there. A little small update that I did notice is the plug. On the X1, the plug itself is actually a white plug. Now they've changed this to a black one. I think it suits the product far better and it looks more uniform and aesthetically pleasing. I think this is a good change. Then we've got 2 of these 3.5mm infrared sensors that we talked about. There's a single and a double sensor. You can plug one or both in at any time. For now, we'll just use one for demonstration purposes. Now the hub setup, we want to install the Sofabaton application. You can do this by scanning the QR code in the quick start guide, or you can search in the Apple and Google Play Store. Once you've installed the app, you want to open up and set up a new device. You want to select the X series, and then we're going to select a new hub. Hold the power button down for 3 seconds until the little blue LED starts to blink on the hub. Then you want to go ahead and connect your Wi-Fi by adding your credentials, which is your username and password. You'll see the light is blue during setup, and once we've connected the remote and have a solid connection, we'll get a green solid light. This means we're ready to go and we can start adding devices. If we come back into the application for a second, we have many options. We've got infrared, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi and RF. We're going to select infrared for now, and then we can also search the model. We can test some commands from the cloud, or we can learn directly with the copy remote feature. For now, we'll try searching for the model, so we're going to need the TV serial number. This can often be found on the rear of the TV, somewhere near the HDMI port. Normally, there'll be a little sticker with the model number. Sometimes you might find a model number with one slight difference. This can still work, as often they're made in the same factory or a different size TV. They're just slightly different serial numbers. When you copy the serial number to your remote, this will synchronize and set up the remote to work with that device. Once the remote has finished synchronizing, you want to head over to your device and test it works. Obviously try your power buttons and your main functions like the home, back button, up, down, left, right, volume, mute, etc. But if by any chance they don't work, we can always revert back to the copy feature. Once the remote is synchronized, I took it to the TV and did a little test checking all of the buttons work. We do have a slight issue, the back button didn't work, but like I said, I did insert the wrong code, and even though one of the buttons isn't working, we can go into the customization and we can reprogram that button. And don't forget guys, this is compatible with over 500,000 devices, but if your device isn't compatible, you can make it compatible by using the copy remote feature and pretty much copy any remote. There may be one or two remotes that you come across that just simply won't work, but it is quite rare. I only found one device, which was my key light, and that was the only remote that wouldn't work for me. You can also have up to 15 devices connected at any one time, and you can even set up custom events. You can also share these remotes to the cloud so other people can access these products and devices as well. I think this is a pretty neat feature and one of the main reasons that I like Sofabaton so much. This is my collection of remotes, and the X1S works with all of my primary remotes, so that's the TV, the audio, the skyboxes and stuff like that. It also works with all of my secondary remotes. This is like my projector, the Netflix remotes and things like this. And it also works with miscellaneous remotes, so that's the LEDs and fans and other miscellaneous objects. So let's briefly go through the copy feature then. So to copy remotes, it's really simple. We're going to learn from original remote. Right now we're going to try and connect a fan, so it's other. And then it asks us, does it have a single power button or do you have two power buttons, which is a power on and a power off? For us, it's a single power button, so select single, and then all you need to do is tap learn command, and then you want to hold the remote control around 2 to 5 centimeters away from the hub. It should tell you whether you successfully copy the key or not, but if it fails, simply long press the button and try again, and it should register without any issue. Once you've registered all of the keys and you're satisfied that they all do what you want them to do, go ahead and save this. You can also save an icon which keeps it all familiar for you so you know which device you're trying to control. I did find a little bit of an issue with this heater. The infrared sensor needed to be really close. The remote worked perfectly if I held the sensor within around about a meter or so of the fan itself. So this was a little bit finicky, but this is also a unique device really. Most people probably won't be using the remote for these kind of things, but I'm just simply testing it on everything. I want to know what it works on and what it doesn't. All of the TVs and everything else I tried worked absolutely perfectly. I'll also add some footage in from the X1 showing you some of the other devices that I checked. I don't really need to go through all this again. The X1S is also compatible with all of these devices. We've connected to around 12 devices without any problem. We still have the find our remote feature as well, so none of this hidden remote business and not being able to find it. You do have the alarm on the smart remote. You would be easily able to find it. This is another excellent feature in my opinion. Awesome. I'll insert some footage here of our previous tests on some of the devices. And then the LG TV, so we want the power on. That all works fine. And then we'll go again with the arrow keys, make sure all these work. And if any of the buttons don't work, guys, you can still go into the application and you can set custom commands, so you can actually customize a command if there is one or two that are just not working. You can customize these as you see fit. I've set this OK button as the oscillating feature. Yeah, that's working as well. Takes a second to come on. Up, down, left and right, works fine. Placement. Now, this is a little bit tricky for me. The only complaint I've got with this is it can only work in one room. Wherever the hub is based, this is the room that you have to operate from. So, for example, you can't take the remote into another room and control the other TV. That's one of the only things that I do find annoying about this. There is a 360-degree infrared sensor inside this hub here, and we do also have the twin and single infrared leads. Now, these need to have a line of sight to the infrared receiver. As you can see, this TV that's wall mounted, the infrared is up the back there, so it does need positioning sometimes. As for the remote control, it's basically the same remote with a few welcomed upgrades and updates. It's exactly the same as the X1, everything works perfectly, no issues whatsoever. I also tested it with some other devices, my projector, my tower fan, the heater fan, and a few other devices, and like I said, I had no issues with any connectivity at all. I've been very pleased with performance. The remote control and the hub are basically the same design as the X1. The only thing that's changed visually or aesthetically is the power adapter. It is now black instead of white, and I do think this is a good change. They have also trimmed down the instructions manual. This was a lot thicker than it is now, so that is also a bonus. It makes things a lot quicker and more concise. The remote control still allows you to connect to 15 devices, but it has had multiple updates, including language and font updates. It's been updated to lift to wake, so it doesn't no longer need an input before the remote control is usable. They seem to have fixed an issue where sometimes connectivity may have been an issue, so sometimes you would pick the remote up, you would select the button and there would be no response. You would have to double select it, or in extreme cases you would have to restart the hub. I haven't had to do that on the X1S. I did have to do it with the X1, so it does appear that they have done a good update there with connectivity as well. And we're basically getting an upgraded version of the remote for the same price. So that is one of my recommendations, guys. If you do want to buy one of these things, I would definitely keep an eye out for the X1S. Although the X1 is pretty much the same remote, the X1S is an upgraded version, so why wouldn't you want the newer version if you can get it for the same price? I can easily recommend it. If you want to see what we thought of the Sofabaton U2 and the X1 remote, click the next video. I'll leave a card on screen for you guys now. Thanks to each and every one of you guys for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. I'm Craig, this is Really Random Reviews, and I'll see you in my next video.